Well, greetings to you. 2.5 years ago, I did a little video advising Boris on some of the things he needed to do, some of the things he must do if he wanted to remain in office. Well, he obviously didn't see the video. If he saw the video, he didn't take any notice because now he's going out of office because he couldn't take any notice. So I'm going to give some points of advice to the new incumbent, whether it's Liz Truss or Sunak. It looks like it's going to be Liz Truss now, without any doubt, but let's see. The fight's not over yet. About what she's going to have to do if she doesn't want to go the same way as Boris in a couple of years' time. There's a number of things, not necessarily in order of any priority. First of all, she needs to stop the open door immigration policy. She needs to stop the Anglo-French policy of sucking people in from all over the world and giving them monster benefits, welfare benefits, and putting them up at hotels. That's got to stop. I would have thought that penny had dropped by now. She needs to, as I've said before in other videos, trigger a new Dover patrol and actually tow them back to the French coast. So she needs to get on with that, and something that she can do as soon as she gets into office. She also needs to look at reform of the National Health Service. It is ludicrous to believe that you can have 600,000 people working for the NHS who have no medical qualifications whatsoever. It's ludicrous, is it not, that they have no serious procurement policy and they're paying more for their drugs, mattresses and various bits and pieces than we are online. Absolute madness. There's no fiscal discipline whatsoever in the NHS. It's collapsing. We have to admit that it's collapsing and start again. All right? We have to do that. Otherwise, we can't move forward. The police, we need to look at the police. We cannot have policemen mincing around in Jimmy Choo red high-heeled shoes, for God's sake. There's supposed to be a police force. They're supposed to protect from crime. That's what they're supposed to do, not mince about dancing at pride events. They can do that in their own spare time if that's the way they feel. And no harm in that if that's what they want to do. But not in police time. It's very, very annoying. Stop doing it, especially when you look at the clear-up rate of serious crime. Which is pathetic. It's tiny. It's weeny. They're absolutely bloody useless. And we have to start thinking of seriously reforming the police. Now, the country's broke. The country's completely broke because we spend too much money, we waste too much money. We're spending money on high-speed rail 2, nearly 100 billion, if not more than 100 billion, on a railway that nobody actually really wants and certainly is redundant, an anachronism before it even starts. That's got to stop. We can't afford, no matter how warm inside it makes politicians feel, we cannot afford £1 billion a month being sent overseas with no serious audit and foreign aid. It's got to stop. Here is where it starts, in this country, all right, future Prime Minister. This is where we need the money, not sending it abroad. Let's look at this war between the Ukraine and the Russian Federation. Look, very, very sad. But as Lord Castlereagh would have known, or Lord Palmerston would have known all those years ago, our direct interests are not affected. It's nothing to do with us. So stop sending billions to the Ukraine to prolong the war. All right? No good comes of it. You'd have thought we'd have learnt that, would you not? From Libya, the Horn of Africa, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan. Will we never learn? Stop this constant warfare. It's expensive. Nobody ever wins. And it's a waste of time. Now, there's something else that we can't afford that nobody ever seems to talk about. And that's index-linked public sector pensions, which are costing something like 900 billion a year. It's got to stop. We can't afford it. It's long gone in the private sector, index-linked pensions. It's long gone. We can't afford it. I live in a tiny Yorkshire village. There's only 120 souls. It's one of the smallest villages in Yorkshire. There are 8 people who retired before 60 years old on index-linked pension in my village alone. That's millions and millions of pounds capital cost of pensions. We can't afford it. We simply can't afford it. And let me move on to the green crap, as Cameron so appositely put it. The green crap. Don't start blaming the war in the Ukraine for unaffordable energy prices. This has been going on for 25 years of crazy, insane, suicidal energy policies. Closing conventional power stations, getting rid of them, importing wood from the other side of the world, trying to burn grass, which has been grown on prime farmland. This is absolute madness. all for a hypothesis which year by year by year is clearly under pressure for its veracity. The climate emergency. I've been warned of this now, an old geezer like me, for 30 years. 30 years I've been putting up this sort of nonsense from the Prince of Wales and all the rest of them. It's not happening, is it? Look out of the window. We've had a lovely summer, a lovely warm summer, not as warm as 1976. And probably not as warm as other hot summers that we've had previously. It goes on and it goes on. We have warm summers, cold summers, bad winters, good winters. It's as old as time itself. It's the old as the planet. Yes, climate changes. But now, just think of the absurdity of the hypothesis that it's man-made carbon dioxide. All right? Think about it. Think about it. In this country, or in the atmosphere itself, there is 0.03% carbon dioxide. That's what is the in the atmosphere. 0.03%. Man-made is reckoned to be something like 3% of that figure. Great Britain produces something like 1% of that figure. Get a 5-year-old out with a calculator and work it out, future Prime Minister. What on earth difference, even if you accept the carbon dioxide hypothesis, which gets thinner by the year, even if you accept that, what conceivable difference can it make if we follow the net zero ambition? What conceivable difference can it possibly make? It can't make any difference, and it's costing old people, pensioners, people on the minimum wage, so on and so forth. It's costing them an absolute fortune. We can't afford our energy bills. For goodness sake, get a grip of it. Get a grip of it. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And there's other things I could drone on about as well, like reform of the BBC, which everybody now hates, and inheritance tax, which now even ordinary working Joes are paying. It's supposed to be a tax on very rich people, all right, as a contribution. Not that I agree with it, but that would be understandable. But everybody who bought their house years ago now is in it. You know, butchers, bakers, chippies, cab drivers are all down for inheritance tax in their families. Money on which they've already paid tax. It's a scandal. Address that if you will. There's lots to do. There's lots to do. And it's a shame that after 13 odd years of the Tories being in power, we have to do any of this at all. It should all be done by now. Now, last year there was a massive win for the Tories with 80 majority, which has been frittered away. Drop the pass. Absolutely hopeless. And the other thing we need to do is, when we're negotiating with the EU, let's throw away the Neville Chamberlain guide to negotiation. All right, we're a very big customer, and I made this point to Boris on my video 2 years ago. We have to actually stand up to the EU as a customer and say thus far and no further. And if that means a complete break of relations and a trade war, so be it. Enough of the appeasement. We're all fed up with it. Let's get on with that too. They'll soon learn, believe me. They'll soon learn. They'll soon learn when we mean business. At the moment, we're not getting anywhere because they know we don't mean business. Mr. Floppy. Anyway, there we are. That's my rant for today. Think about it, future Prime Minister, or be where Boris is today in 2 years' time. Believe me, I know about these things. As most of you know, my work is very heavily independently research-based, and I get my information from all over the world. It would help if you press the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, because the more subscribers I have, the more likely it is that international independent research institutes will share their material with me. It's most helpful, and then of course I automatically share it with you. So, surprise, won't cost you anything. Thank you very much.